Hello everyone. So this is April 22nd, and as you can see there is snow everywhere. A week ago all the snow was gone and it was beautiful spring weather. Here's the branches all blooming and green surrounded by snow. Yeah, that makes an interesting picture. So yeah, the weather was really nice. If you watched my other videos, like spring in Russia, I could see I was really enthusiastic. That spring was finally here and it seemed like really everything was blooming and all and budding, and all this area, I'm walking in the woods, in the park, all this area was green. It was turning green and completely free of snow. All the snow had melted. And then Sunday it got really cold. And then I woke up Monday morning and it was snowing and everything was covered with snow. I was so angry. I made a really angry video cursing up a storm while I was walking out on Monday. And yeah, I was really disappointed and angry. I felt like personally offended by nature. How can nature do this to me? I know that's stupid, but yeah, I mean, Russian weather is very fickle and like schizophrenic. You can never depend on it. I mean, this is a perfect example. I shouldn't be surprised because this happens every year, pretty much. You have several weeks of really nice weather in like the end of March, early April, and then all of a sudden winter comes back. So yeah, I cursed up a storm in my last video. I was so angry. So I refused to even go for a walk. We're like Monday and Tuesday. I did not want to go outside because it was cold, and I was just going outside and seeing all the snow would make me angry. I would get really angry. I wouldn't even look out the window. I just stayed home, except going to the store to buy some food. But yeah, just looking out the window and seeing all the snow would make me angry. So I just stayed home, had my lessons, watched YouTube, listened to music, read. And yeah, I refused to go for my normal walks. Like, it was the principle, the point. Because, like, in the winter, I don't have a problem going for a walk, my usual 25 kilometers, even when it's minus 25 and minus 30 and in a full-blown snowstorm. I don't have a problem with that because it's winter and that's how it's supposed to be. Like in December, January, February, even March is okay. But the end of April, look at this, man, the end of April. And after such a beautiful spring, really. And now, it's just it's so weird, but interesting to see all the green. And then snow everywhere around it. But yeah. Yeah. So, you can never depend on Russia weather as far as like being normal. Like predictable. Yeah, Russian weather is not predictable. I remember watching a movie about Napoleon, and like his generals were warning him about the Russian winter, and it was like in October, and it was still warm and nice, and Napoleon was mocking them and saying like, "Oh, this is a terrible, horrible Russian winter that you're all warning me about, and you're like, afraid of." And all. Then all of a sudden, winter came in, and he lost 500,000 of his soldiers. He went into Russia with 600,000 soldiers and came back with only 100,000. Most of them killed by the winter. So, how do we get to Napoleon from, well, Russian weather, yeah. So yeah, a week ago there was not a speck of snow here. And now, well, at least the weather was warm. When I noticed the weather was warm today, I decided I gotta go for a walk, because I was just cooped up in the house for 2 days. And for me, that was hard. I was getting really restless and just wanting to get out and do something. And I kind of felt like I was like wasting my time and all. But I was just, yeah, going out at that time would have just, even when I went to the store, I would get angry seeing all the snow. So, there's something interesting here. It's not only me that's angry about the snow. I mean, if you look closely at the green leaves, they're still green, but they all look like shocked. Right? Like, what the hell is going on? I'll do a close-up of the leaves. Well, I did a close-up of the leaves. I don't know, they seem less vibrant and just like, yeah, like, oh shit. Because it was unexpected. So there's a tree here that fell over, or the branch or the tree broke in half. And then the tree broke in half there. That wasn't here before. Last week that wasn't here. As you can see, all the leaves are green. So it was budding, and already leaves were coming out, not just buds. And then it just broke. So it seems like it was a perfectly healthy tree. Seems like it was a very healthy tree. Look at the leaves. So yeah, what I think is that, yeah, from the snowstorm and the wind and everything, it just, I don't know, because it looks, yeah, like a perfectly good, healthy tree. Maybe from all the wind on that day, and the sudden change from cold to, from warm to cold. I don't know if that would affect, like, it breaking or something. Probably, right? So yeah, I feel bad for the tree, actually. Literally, I feel bad for the tree. I know trees don't have feelings and stuff, and it's not suffering, but yeah, I feel bad for it. Poor tree. It sucks. But it seems like, it was traumatized by this sudden onslaught of snow after so many warm. after coming back to life after a long winter, and then all of a sudden the snow comes back. It seems like I just cracked. Couldn't take it. Am I anthropomorphizing nature too much? Yeah, they say if you cook, when you cook vegetables, when you boil vegetables, they let out a scream. I've read articles about that. Like, they make a certain sound, like they use special equipment to to like hear sounds that humans can't hear. And yeah, they let out vegetables let out a different type of sound when they're being boiled. I'm gonna research that again, but I've definitely read several articles about that. Oh, the poor tree. You know what I find horrible? Like we were doing lessons on like the environment with my students, and like I consider myself an environmentalist. I love nature, as anybody that's seen my videos knows. But I don't think global warming is a big deal, because in like 100 or 125 years, definitely 100 years, the temperature of the Earth has only risen by 0.75% of 1 degree Celsius. So not even 1 degree. So I don't think global warming is a big deal. Especially when you live in Russia. It's April 22nd, and look at all the snow. I'd like to see some global warming in Russia. Seriously. But what I do think is a big problem is the cutting down of the rainforest. So every day, people cut down 700 to 800 hectares of rainforest. Every single day, 700 to 800 hectares. I think that's, I forget how many like square kilometers. I think 1,200, I'm not sure. I have to look up that. That's a lot of area. Maybe not 1,200. I just looked it up yesterday again. 700 to 800 hectares, I definitely remember. Every single day. Like, why? What do they use the wood for? Like, we have plenty of other materials you can make things out of rather than wood, you know? And of course, trees are very important because they absorb carbon dioxide and like produce oxygen, which we need to breathe. So I don't understand how you can destroy such beautiful places. And for what? I don't understand. Why do they need all that wood? What, to build furniture or something? Or what do they use wood for nowadays? Let's see. I guess like furniture, or but what else do they use wood for nowadays? I mean, you can make furniture out of other material, even make it look like wood, or whatever. Yeah, I find that crazy and really disturbing and really dangerous to the earth and dangerous for humanity. Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem. Well, pollution, of course. Like pollution from factories and cars and airplanes. And yeah, the cutting down the rainforest. So yeah, April 22nd. Snow everywhere. I'm never gonna trust spring again in Russia. I was a bit skeptical. If you watch my other videos, yeah, I was saying, well, maybe this isn't. But I was like, oh, it seems like it really is spring, but you never know. Yep. I don't remember that kind of dichotomy in America. Spring came, like, I remember March being still cold. Like, there's even a saying, like, March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. So yeah, in the first 2 weeks, I remember the first 2 weeks of March still being cold and winter-like. And then the second 2 weeks, all of a sudden spring happens, and the way I remember, like by April 1st, there's green grass and flowers growing, flowers blooming and all. That's how I remember. Like spring in New York State. So, yeah. So, but I guess I kind of got over my anger because I am going for a walk, which I refused to do for 2 days. But, because the weather is nice. Like I said, it's like plus 13, so. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's my imagination, but the green plants don't look too happy. They don't look as vibrant as they did before all the snow. I don't know. Probably my imagination. I try not to anthropomorphize nature, but I mean, it is an interesting picture. The bright green and just snow everywhere. Yeah, it's very interesting. And actually beautiful picture. So, yeah. This snow is back, and it's gonna take weeks for it to all melt away. Like, it's not as bad as it was, like a month ago, but, I mean, not as deep. I can walk through normally, but well, I had to put on my winter boots. But I'm wearing my spring coat because yeah, it's nice. There's the sun. Let's see if we can see the sun. You're not supposed to take pictures of the sun with a smartphone, are you? Or a video. But it can damage the lens or something, right? But I do. Ah, the beautiful sun. Oh man, my last video was so angry. I feel kind of embarrassed about it. I'm not gonna delete it though. But it was kind of cringe. I was so angry. And cursing up a storm. And cursing nature. Which for me is like blasphemy to curse nature. Yeah. The sun. I love the sun. So yeah, I'm happy again, in a good mood, and disappointed of this because of the snow. But as long as it's warm, then it's not too bad. But who knows? It might snow again tomorrow. You never know. And I did look at the forecast for this week, and it did say it was going to get colder, like to 6 degrees. But it didn't say anything about snow. So I was really surprised. And like the forecast wasn't that accurate because obviously it dropped to below 0. So, walking in the snow, April 22nd, which is normal for Russia. I remember one time, I think I mentioned that in the other video, only one time in my lifetime in America was there snow in April. And everybody was shocked. Like, I had a ticket to the opera that day, to Valkyrie, one of my favorite operas. But the opera house closed down because of the snow, and the roads were too dangerous, because everybody was just like in shock. They didn't have like snow plows, I guess, or everybody had their spring tires on already, and I don't know, the opera house closed down. The trains to New York City shut down because of the snow, right? I remember stores were closed and everything. It was like, you know. So obviously it's very rare in America, at least in New York area, for it to snow in April, because like people didn't know how to react to it. And literally, like, places were all closed down because of the snow. And trains weren't running. Buses weren't running or anything. So, yeah, I remember I was angry that day too. Because my favorite opera was canceled. Okay. So, April 22nd in Russia. I should be used to it, but I can't get over it. It's still surprising and shocking to me. And disappointing. But at least it's warm again. So it's not so bad. But those 2 days when it was like below 0. And yeah, no, that was really bad. So I'm gonna go to the end and then sign off. I have some classes soon. But yeah, I was talking to my students, and in Moscow it wasn't snowing. Here in Nizhny Novgorod, we're about 400 kilometers east of Moscow. It was snowing, but in Moscow it wasn't snowing. And then I have a student in Siberia, and he's like, that's normal in April for Siberia. Yeah, but we're not living in Siberia. Okay. The green is still above the snow. Oh well. I guess I'm over my shock and getting back to my normal routine. It is pretty beautiful. The green and then the bright white snow. Ah, it's definitely interesting. And some car driving a while, listening to really loud, stupid music. Really loud and really stupid music. Oh man, listen to that. I don't know why Russians like such loud music. I mean, like any of their festivals or like New Year's parties, like corporate parties, the music is so loud. I don't know why. Good, he stopped. Okay, so I gotta check the time because I have a lesson soon. So, goodbye, everyone. Hope you're having a nicer spring than we are here. And there's no snow where you're living. So, goodbye. До свидания. Auf Wiedersehen.